everybody, hello and welcome to the penultimate round of the 2023.1 simCup season. It has been a fantastic season thus far. We are into the second last race. There is a championship on the line tonight. I'll delve into that in just a little bit. Qualifying has officially just started. Everybody's on their out laps. I'll throw up the timing grid in just a moment, just to give everybody an opportunity to get going. But before we get to that, let's have a quick look into what is happening tonight. So, just in terms of some general information, we are on Brands Hatch. Oh, apologies, I am Sas from the Westhuizen. I'll be your commentator for tonight. But we're on Brands Hatch. It's the, I think they call this the Grand Prix layout. So it's the full circuit in all its easy to learn, difficult to master glory. I've seen some quick drivers out there tonight, and I'm excited to see what type of racing we're going to be getting. I do know that load shedding is hit for quite a few, but here's for hoping that we can still get a really good race. Why am I hoping? I am expecting a good race. Each of these races has proven to be great watching. In terms of weather info, you can see the weather is showing nice and sunny tonight. Partly cloudy. It's one of those situations where a lot of people were kind of weirded out by the fact that we're not having rain tonight. We kind of looked at the weather forecast and saw that it wasn't as hectic, so we tried to put something together that's still going to be fun. I'm not expecting rain, knowing the simulation that ACC kind of does. I think I've picked up on the patterns. We shouldn't be expecting rain tonight. The only variable conditions we'll really be expecting is track temperature maybe slightly shifting due to the cloudiness. That's not really going to impact things too much, especially with the latest update, meaning that tires aren't as sensitive to pressure anymore. A little bit of temperature change on track shouldn't be too much. Then, just as a last point, I wanted to quickly bring up the championship standings. Now, keep in mind, this does not take drop rounds into account just yet. This is just pure points, meaning if Sean wins tonight, or I actually didn't go and do a full calculation, but Sean Strijdom has the ability to clinch the championship tonight. If he had to miss tonight and the next race, there is still a chance for the likes of Jeremy, and Gregory Hofart is close there, and there might be some other drivers who's already taken their drop round. So I'm not quite sure how it's going to shake out for P2 and 3. But definitely Sean Strijdom is the guy to be watching tonight. He is set to come and clinch this championship. It has been an almost flawless championship for him. The names that you see kind of grayed out, those are drivers that have signed out of the championship. Not out of the championship. They have decided to take a drop round tonight due to load shedding getting a little in the way. That doesn't mean that they're out for the count, so I'm fully expecting some of these drivers to be rocking up next time, like in 3 weeks time, for the last round. Right, let me quickly get a timing grid up so that we can start looking and seeing what is going on here. So right now, Nick Hodgson comfortably on provisional pole there, although I'm fully expecting, let me maybe just switch off my auto director. I'm fully expecting Sean Strijdom, and he is currently down in P14, so he's clearly not had the best of outings just yet. As we see Ryan Barrington-Smith warming up. Yes, quickly in the YouTube chat, maybe saying hello there, Alex. Alex, who's there? Paul Fenter, Ryan Barrington-Smith, Hans ZA. Why does that name ring a bell? Is that Hannes? Not sure. But anyways, welcome to tonight's stream. I'm excited to have everybody here, and I'm excited to be watching this last race. And I see Ryan had to kind of just back out of it, switch to a TV camera view there. I'm quickly gonna go and find Sean Strijdom. He is currently on what looks like an outlap, so maybe traffic's a little bit hectic. Well, not hectic, but it's a little more difficult to navigate around traffic and find a good clean lap. As I mentioned, Brands Hatch, one of those circuits that's easy to learn, difficult to master. As I said that, Sean having a big moment there at the second last corner, and he jumps straight back to pits. Right, let's go see if we can find someone who's on a good hot lap. I'll jump to Mark Henneberry. He has just crossed the sector line for sector 1. Currently 2/10 up on his delta, so should be able to claw in a little bit more. It is interesting to see that Nick is still quite a ways ahead, and there's still a pretty big gap. But if I look towards the top right hand, there it is. The track is currently fast, so we should be expecting times to start tumbling quite a bit. And this might be the thing that's catching out a driver here and there. The fact the track is slightly faster than expected is making driving that little bit more difficult. Robin van der Merwe, hello, welcome to tonight's stream. I'm excited to have you LNR gents here to support the team. Always great seeing the support that you guys bring. Right, Mark Henneberry, 4/10 up on his delta. That's going to give him bringing up to P3 by my count. And indeed it does, so he's laid down the gauntlet. He's going to be trying to get closer and closer. Next driver, Ronald Childs, 4/10 up on his delta, and that is only through sector 1. So this track is clearly evolving quickly, and Ronald is trying his best to claw back some time and gain a bit of positions or some positions back for the start. It is also looking like a decently sized grid. We've got 21 drivers on track, so hopefully nobody's got weird interruptions because of power outages and whatnot. Ooh, and as I say that, well, I see Ronald Childs going slow, so he's abandoned that lap and decided, nope, not the way to go. I'm going to quickly jump to Endren Govender. He is almost a second up on his delta. Lots of time to be gained still, I think. That's only going to net him P4 provisionally. So excited to see if he can bring that car back, sliding a lot, it seems. Not sure if that's intentional, the slip angle, or if that's something else. Gonna be interesting to see if he can claw back a bit of time. And just trying to see if someone else, quickly jumping to Nick. He's just started a new lap. I think he has set quite the benchmark, and I'll keep an eye out to see how things develop for him. Jumping towards the back a bit, Sheldon Stander. These Porsche Cup cars are not the easiest cars to drive, and I've often been very enthusiastic about the strategy component with these races. So it can be a little processional, but there's fun to be had all like up and down the entire field. Ooh, and as I say that, Sean running very, very wide there. That's going to invalidate his lap, and he'll have to go back and start again. Jumping now to James Leach, who is about to finish his lap. He's just 5/10 up on his delta. That should bump him up quite a few places. I think right now it's going to be down to who gets that final lap at just the right time. So James Leach, he does improve his lap time, but it's not enough to break him into the top 10. Hopping to Franco Bernardi, he has just started a lap for the Bernardi Alphabet Racing team. Always been great seeing this livery out there. Ooh, that looks like a very, very turned around LNR car. Paul, you guys had better be on the blower there with Sean Stradom. Tell him to fix what is wrong with the car and get on with it. Ooh, my apologies, hit my microphone stand a bit. Ooh, not sure if front shot invalidated there, but he is already a second. He's lost a second on his delta there. Hopping back to Sean Strydom. Okay, so that wasn't Sean. My apologies. He is starting a hot lap now. Oh, he's just finished the lap and he is in provisional second right now. Yes, Robin, he got a good lap in, but it's not quite enough just yet. I'm not discounting that lap time that Nick had set can't be beat, although I will quickly jump to him. He is almost done with his next lap and he's got a bit of traffic to deal with. Ooh. I'm not sure. I can't remember who that was. Traffic gets out of the way. I don't think there was a bump, but I'm hoping there wasn't a bump. Otherwise, this is not the best quali lap. It's not the best show of quali from Nick, although that's not how I know him. And Nick does not improve just yet. 3 minutes on the clock, so a good 2 more laps that he can put in and see what attempt he can make at improving or stretching out that provisional pole lead. Everybody right now up on their delta. Sean Strydom 4/10 up on his delta. That will be enough to shift him into provisional pole, but as I said, it's only provisional. Sean maintains. Well, looks like he's maintained the delta there. He's going to cross the finish line, keeps it nice and tight to shorten the run to the line, and that bumps him up 0.08 of a second ahead of Nick. Don't discount Sean Bingham though. He's also in the fight for it, currently 0.3 up on his delta. But Nick Hodgson, slightly ahead of him, is 0.3 up on his delta, and he is doing his utmost best to defend this provisional pole or clinch it back from Sean Strydom. I like the way you put it, Paul. Let's send strong words. Hopefully Sean has a thick skin. Right, Nick has taken back provisional pole. Sean Strydom currently in the pits. He is not going to have enough time to start a next lap, and that is his qualifying done for. Sean Bingham, not currently showing anything specific on my delta. I am going to bump to Francois Bernardi, 0.5 up on his delta. He has made it through sector 1. He's busy with sector 2 now. This is a difficult corner to get right. You have to really carry a lot of momentum and not run wide. Ooh, that's very, very close. Francois has lost a little bit of time. I don't think he's going to be improving that lap just yet. He pulls off the road. I kind of missed what happened there. They both go off the road and lose it on their own. That is unfortunate. Right, back to Sean Bingham, who's also trying his utmost best to improve on his lap. He's crossing the line with 10 seconds to go. This might be it. This is the moment you want to be crossing the finish line to start your lap so that you get the most optimum grip on this track. I'll switch back to Sean in a moment. Let me quickly go and have a look at Renier Leach. On the cusp of finishing sector 2. That's very, very wide, and that's going to invalidate his lap. Ronald Childs, he is just crossed the sector line for sector 1. Currently, he was 0.3 up and now it has disappeared. The pressure of qualifying can often be a driver's own demise. Right, back to Sean. Not yet. Sean is currently 1/10 down on his delta, 2/10. He's just losing time at this moment. Let's go jump back to him to see what he can do. Little bit wiggly there. He has somehow found 2/10. Given enough time to find, he might be able to clinch the front row from Sean Strydom. And that's not the best run through that last corner. Such a tricky corner. You really have to work on carrying the momentum. Right, we have a grid. I'm gonna go for a very quick ad break. I'll be back by the time everybody bumps to the grid, and we'll get this party going. Oh my, I keep forgetting that there is a little bit of time to kill because there's a full formation lap, but it doesn't matter. I am going to use the opportunity to quickly just remind everybody you can head on over to www.simracesa.co.za. Oh, I had promised Ryan that I'll share some stats, so let me share some insights. Just quickly finding it. We are in the process of planning next season. That is the 2023.3 season. So if you're keen on racing with us, you can still race this season. There's still maybe let me not promise things just yet. We're a little at capacity with the GT and GP series. There is still slots available, it seems, from for the simCup series. So if you do want to take part in the last race, you're still welcome to come and sign up. If we do end up putting you on the reserve list, don't fret. It does tend to happen that quite a few drivers can't make it for the night, so there might just be an opportunity for you to join and have some fun with us. But we are planning out our next season of this format. This format being almost a feeder format for our GT3 series. I know this car isn't quite that much of a feeder format, but I would also argue that it can be, because it forces you to drive the car within your means and not overdrive too much. The GT3 cars with traction control can very easily allow you to overdrive the car by quite a bit. So this is the feeder series. We've got some options right now. A very popular option is that we move to GT4s, also in ACC, but there's also the choice of I did have it open just now. There's also the choice of us sticking with the Porsche Cup, maybe not the most popular choice for everybody, or switching back to Assetto Corsa using the Alpha 115 TIV6. So if you are interested in providing us with a little bit of input, that would be great. Come and join the Discord server. Get yourselves ready for the 2023.2 season. We are kicking off in the beginning of July. I think that first week of July we'll likely have our first race of the season. Season lasting 6 months. We're planning 3 different categories again. So make sure to go and get your votes in. The same goes for GP. There is also a vote on that one out. I'm just not sure right now what the stats are saying, but for the people like really into the aero racing and like some of the upper echelons of single-seater racing, this is the series for you. And then of course we are sticking with our GT3 format. We will have GT3 racing next season, and it is the big one. It is the one that everybody is interested in, and we tend to have the biggest grids and even multiple divisions. So if you want to come and race with us, head on over to www.simracesa.co.za. There is a link to our Discord server. You can come and onboard there, and you'll find details on how to sign up for our seasons from there. Really excited to be kicking this off. And I'm also really excited to be kicking off this race. We are very close to the start here. Nick has, like, everybody has gone double file now. I will stop yapping about joining SRSA and let's focus on this race. Quick hello to Hardesboyse there in chat. Great seeing you here. Disappointed that you couldn't race tonight, but it's great having you in the YouTube chat otherwise. Right, everybody is waiting for that green light. Sean putting his nose slightly ahead of Nick. Hopefully that won't net him a penalty. And away they go. Green flag is out. I see 3 wide in the back there. Hopefully that does not lead to absolute carnage. Ooh, that car almost outbraking itself. I think that was Martin Groenewald. I'm switching back to the TV cameras right now. Everybody looks to have survived. Actually, let me go back to the helicopter cam. I'm going to drop down the order just a bit. I know these corners are still a little bit tentative for a lot of drivers, so let's see how they make it through the pack. Just jump back a little bit. Ooh, Bjorn had a bit of a spin. Let's jump back there. I think that might have been a little bit of contact. Hopefully not. Ooh, Bjorn, my apologies. I'll get away from you so that you don't have to rewatch your pain. Right, we're back in action. Nick is in a pretty commanding lead right now as he's coming to cross the Sector 2 line. He is basically a second ahead of Sean Strydom. Nick has always been someone that absolutely loves Brand Hatch. And I'm going to be keeping my eyes on him. There's a little bit of talk amongst the Grumpy Monkey fellows around strategy for this race. And ever since the new update, I haven't quite settled on what the quote-unquote optimal strategy is for this format. Looking for some close battles. Endrin Govender, Jeremy de Villiers, Martin Groenewald, Christy Simon, and Roxanne Bartle, almost able to throw a blanket over these folks. Jeremy defending really, really hard there. He has to focus and make sure that he keeps it nice and tidy. Mark Henneberry currently taking the fastest lap for the race. Right, everybody seems to have settled now. There's a lot of battling up and down the field. Let me go back to James Leach. He's got Roxanne Bartle right behind him. I think if we switch to Roxanne... why is she moving about? Roxanne, let's go to an onboard view. Not that one. This one. Said it once before, I'll say it again, and that seems to be a disconnect from Roxanne. That is so unfortunate. Right, back to Christy Simon, the group here that can almost throw a blanket over them. This is going to be spicy. Martin Groenewald trying his best to make his way around Jeremy de Villiers. Jeremy running defensively, but also not 100% defensively. Ooh, there's contact. There's contact. That is not how we should be racing. Keep it calm, everybody. Martin does rejoin. He lets Jeremy past him. And I think he is also now waiting for Christy to get by. Maybe not. We'll see. Right. Continuing on. That was a little bit of an unfortunate showing. Martin trying to go for the cutback there. Well... it's not an undercut. It's almost like a cutback. It's not quite a hairpin turn, but it's not quite working out for him. Jeremy just turning in a little more quickly than he expected. Back to Renier Leach. Well, not back to Renier Leach. Jumping to Renier Leach. He's got Jeremy de Villiers all over the back of him now. Jeremy, after having that bit of a spin, is going to be on a recovery drive. And he's immediately trying to throw himself at James Leach. Alright, who's got the better exit here for turn 1? Jeremy maybe not quite there just yet. He's going to have to close that gap ever so slightly. But can he maintain the momentum? Keep the attack going. Ooh, Jeremy running very, very wide there. Contact with Martin was light enough that I don't think it should have been too much of an issue. I'm going to jump back to James Leach Sr., who's got Christy Simon making a move there. James Leach Sr. maybe going a little wider there than usual. Maybe he looked at Christy and said, this is not going to be my battle. My battle is with Francois Bernardi behind. Let me not lose too much time. I'm trying to fight him. Francois does seem to have a good run, so can he close the gap? This last sector of the lap is a difficult section to make an overtake in, but it's about keeping that pressure there, because running slightly wide on any one of these corners can send you spinning. Just hopping to the battle between Chris Bernardi and Etienne Mouton. Etienne's showing his nose, not quite able to outbrake Chris there, but it would have unsettled Chris's line. Maybe not getting the best exit. Yeah, Chris goes defensive, and it's going to allow Etienne to take a slightly better line. Ooh, he runs wide. That's not going to help his attempt at trying to make an overtake stick into turn 1. I'll be looking to this battle a little bit later. Hopefully it gets a nice and spicy. Up in the front, Sean Strydom currently 1.1 seconds adrift of Nick. I'm not convinced that Sean is like holding back unnecessarily. No, what am I trying to say? I think Sean is trying to maybe preserve tires a bit. I know that this new update has brought a slightly different approach to your thinking, and knowing that the strategy hasn't been figured out yet, I am wondering if Sean is trying to make a no tire stop strategy work tonight. My apologies, work waits for no man, just had to quickly check in on something. So Sean is definitely maintaining that gap to Nick, and I think he's likely looking at keeping himself clean. Ooh, Nick has made a mistake somewhere. Nick has made a small mistake somewhere. Sean has gained 4 tenths in that last sector. I'll keep my eyes peeled. I want to quickly hop back to... Looked like there was a battle between Bernardi and Van Vieren. Oh, nice. Oh no, Etienne Mouton managed to get past Chris, so he's there. This battle is quite lively though. Martin Groenewald back on the attack with Jeremy de Villiers. Jeremy not quite able to make it past René Leach yet, so he's going to be under a ton of pressure. Christy Simon also was in the mix back when Martin and Jeremy had that little bit of a tango. So I'm expecting him to also start rocking up in the back of them if he can keep his nose clean for the next few laps. Ooh, Jeremy looking very, very racy there with René, sticking his nose right under his wing, saying, I am here, you are gonna have to be careful for me. And René running very, very wide there. Not the best line there. Jeremy goes for the move on the inside, forces Renier Leach wide, and that's now opened the door for Martin Groenewald. Has it not quite? Jeremy running wide there. He has to back off and rejoin behind Renier Leach. Martin Groenewald manages to overtake Renier. Lots of movement up and down the field here. I want to get a quick view of what happened from a helicam point of view with Jeremy de Villiers. Jeremy making a beautiful move, taking that apex, almost forcing Renier. Ooh, there was a slight tap from behind. Ooh, that's unfortunate. Jeremy does manage to join. Okay, not the end of the world. It's a very, very light tap from Renier Leach behind him. And it does look like Renier, yes, Renier acknowledges that there was a tap. It's the gentlemanly racing that we like to see here. Slight taps is, yes, that was my mistake, my apologies, and he lets him rejoin after, rejoin safely. Right, the pit window is open. Drivers are required to add a minimum of 1 liter for their pit stop to be considered valid, and that is it. And this pit stop has to happen during the pit window. I think, as far as I know, not when you enter the pit. Your actual stop you have to go stationary in front before the timer runs up. We have seen drivers really push this in the past with a quick splash and dash, as that was the most optimal strategy here, but not quite. Right, I'm jumping to Sean Strydom, who is now closing in on Nick at quite a rate. I am thinking Sean didn't have a setup that would nicely fire up for quali, but he's got a setup that was focused on the long term, on how to gain pace during the later stages of the step. Keep in mind, it's only 10 minutes into this race, but if you are planning on a 50-50 stint with tires, getting yourself that slight bit of an advantage can really put pressure on the driver ahead. Going for a little bit of an onboard here. Sean's last lap 26.7 and Nick's last lap at 27.1. So 4/10 in it there. Ooh, looked like Sean wanted to send it there. Right, not quite sure what exactly was happening there. I did notice Nick might be... Was he lagging? No, I'm not sure. Hopefully that's not the case, because that can make it slightly difficult for a driver to confidently overtake. But it's also very easy at that corner to just miss your brake marker, because it's a weird off-camber-ish corner with weird transitions and bumps. You have to be very aware of what you're doing if you're going for a move on the inside. Now hopping back to Christy Simon, he's all over the back. Different lines. Yep, okay. I thought it as much. Sean just almost killing himself. Christy Simon is closing in on Renier Leach. He's also on a bit of a recovery drive after he made secondary contact with Martin and Jeremy that spun in front of him. But this is the battle for P10, so top 10 is always a nice feeling when you're battling for those top 10 spots, and it can often serve as good motivation to keep your head in it if you're this close. Jeremy still ahead of Renier Leach, but not quite managing to pull away just yet. His last lap 28.0 compared to Renier's 27.8, but that might still have been the lap where they made slight contact. Can't remember, it felt like longer ago. Christy not quite able to catch Renier just yet. Renier seems to be holding on to Jeremy in the fast sections. Maybe there's a slight bit of difference between aero setups that's hindering the team. Hopping back to James Leach Sr., who's got Francois Bernardi all over the back of him. I'm going to hop on board with Francois Bernardi. It feels like every time I've hopped on board with someone, it has been a little bit of a problem. Although I'm wondering now if James Leach Sr. maybe didn't overtake Francois earlier. Their last lap times are quite different, but let's see. This gap grows by the end of the main straight, we'll know. Francois not quite able to hit the apex there, but it does look like he had a slightly cleaner line than James Leach Sr. He's not going to be able to close the gap just yet. Shows his nose. Shows that he's there. Is going to compromise his run up to Druids. But that is all pressure that James Leach Sr. has to absorb. James Leach Sr. running very, very wide there. Francois not quite able to capitalize on it. Let's go to an onboard for James Leach. Oh, too late. Francois taking the inside line. Can they keep it clean? James on the marbles. Ooh, he manages to keep hold of it and doesn't run off. Lives to fight another day. Francois making a very, very cheeky overtake there. That is a difficult spot to overtake. You have to have a lot of trust in the driver on the outside. The driver on the inside also has to have a lot of trust with the driver on the inside. You can easily outbrake yourself there and tag someone. I am ashamed to admit I have been guilty of a moment where I made the slight mistake and bumped the driver to the outside, not realizing how much I had actually cost him in time there. Sheldon Stander, first of the drivers to pit and clear their mandatory pit stop. Hopping back here. Nick Hodgson under a lot of pressure here by Sean Strydom. Mr. Julian, welcome to the stream. Great to see some more support for LNR. I'm afraid I have to try and be a little bit unbiased as the commentator, but I'm also waving my Grumpy Monkey flag as much as possible, so we might be in it for having some words after the race. Nick managing well to maintain a good level head. Sean does show his nose a little bit, trying to unsettle Nick. Not quite able to do that 100%. Ooh, Sean running slightly wide there. Not the best of lines. He is taking a slight different entry line into Druids to try and get a better exit. Hans ZA. I'm not sure what you're referring to in terms of do all the change noted settings. What was the best time that Sean has done? Best time that Sean has done was at 26.6. Best time that Nick has done was at 26.4. So Nick is still slightly faster. But Nick's last lap was at 27.2 and Sean's last lap was at 27.0. This might be where tire degradation is going to start playing a role. And as I mentioned, I'm still not sure which strategy everybody is on. Even though I'm part of the Grumpy Monkey team, I'm not taking part in this series, so I haven't paid too much attention to their discussion around strategy. Partly because I like to see how things shake out during the race. Oh, Sean eating a little bit too much curb there. That sends the car into a slide. But he's still able to maintain a very, very close following distance. Interesting just how much abuse he is putting through those tires and staying within reach of Nick. They both have slightly different lines through that corner. Turn 4. To just count it out quickly. And up ahead, that looks like Roxanne Bartle. She must have had a bit of drama. So that is lap traffic that the two leaders are approaching. As things stand, though, let me maybe just hop here, and I can jump back 10 seconds. Christy Simon making a great overtake on Renier. He's applied a lot of pressure there that forced Renier wide, and that's why. And that's what Christy said. Thank you very much. I'll take the inside line and I'll take the position. Back to this battle. Roxanne staying well out of the way there. Why is it showing a yellow flag? Somewhere on track there was yellow flags. Not 100%. I'm absolutely holding my breath. And even with the way they're battling right now, if they're on two different strategies, we are likely going to be seeing them battle it out. Battle it out towards the end of the race as well, because I don't think there is one super optimal strat. There's a lot these days that boils down to driver confidence and driver ability to do a bit of tire management, in my opinion. Ooh, Nick's starting to run slightly deep there. It might be a different line that he's trying to take to gain an advantage on the exit. But if he's not careful, opening the door a little too much, Sean's gonna sniff blood and he will not hesitate to attack. All that said though, Sean basically just has to finish well ahead of P2 in the championship. To take the championship victory here tonight. So he doesn't have to win it, but I am sure he's on a perfect streak to currently in the season. So he's gonna be duking it out. He's gonna be going for that win. There's no sense in just winning the championship if there's a win on the cards here tonight. Tell me I'm wrong, Paul. Just gonna see how they get through to Druids, because I see there's a very close gap between Jeremy de Villiers and Christy Simon as well. I can't take my eyes away, but let me go and have a very, very quick look. Jeremy de Villiers trying his best to defend against Christy Simon. Jeremy running slightly defensive there. Christy showing his nose. Not quite able to get alongside into turn one. They are taking slightly different lines. Christy carrying what looks to be a little bit more momentum. Tries to make a move for the inside. They are side by side. I think Jeremy has the better line here. Christy going for the cut back there. Jeremy turning in, not expecting it, but honestly, I can't fault anybody there. That was such a great move by Christy. Brave move, and there was contact. Let's not deny that. But Christy got alongside. He slowed the car down well enough, and Jeremy just probably wasn't expecting it. That was quite the show from both drivers, in my opinion. Right, back to Nick. Or rather, let's ride with Sean. Ooh, Nick getting very, very squirrely there on the exit. We are getting very close to the 50-50 pit window. Keeping in mind that taking tires will cause your pit stop to take 30 seconds. Whereas skipping tires and only taking fuel can save you a little bit of time, but you'll have to hope that you can defend against that towards the end of the race. But the way Sean is going, right now it's looking like his tires are still pretty good and offering him a decent amount of grip. His last lap was 2/10 slower than Nick's. Ooh, as I say that, I need to be careful with commentator's curse here. Big slide from Sean, so clearly not as much grip as I had expected. This is a car that you have to drive a little more carefully. You can't just plant your foot like you can in the GT3s. You have to really ease yourself into it. And Nick approaching a group of back markers now, so this is likely going to come into play for the battle for P1. Keep in mind, our blue flag rules are such that it is the responsibility of the driver, the faster driver, to make a clean overtake here. There is no requirement to jump out of the way as a back marker. The only thing is to not defend. Don't run the defensive line. Don't cut back to the apex if you miss your apex. Expect a faster car on the apex if you leave any amount of space. Looks like the two leaders are managing to get through the pack quite cleanly at the moment. And so everybody adhering to the rules there. I do see, who is that? Leon van Vieren and James Leach Sr. in the background also duking it out. Nick and Sean making their way past Chris Bernardi. I'll quickly go and have a look here between Gideon. Almost throw a blanket over these guys. Oh no, that is another faster car coming around to lap. Well then, second closest battle on track. Well, no, not second closest. I'm quickly looking here. Ryan Barrington Smith, Sean Stradham goes into the pits. I'm quickly gonna go and watch to see how long his pit stop takes. This is a 50-50 pit stop. It might be that he feels he is faster than Nick and just coming into pit. This is a long pit stop. I think this might be a tire pit stop, although his car is not jacked up. I think his car is not jacked up. I didn't check what time he went into the pits though. This is going to be the moment where Nick has to make sure he's not losing unnecessary time against the back markers. He is still making his way past other drivers. Sean is away. I have an eerie feeling he didn't take tires. Judging by the amount of fuel, it's a little bit of a weird call. A little bit of a weird call. If he didn't take tires, I'm sure that like Sean will. Either way, I'm gonna be getting Sean into the commentary booth after the race to have a bit of a chat with him, because I think even finishing top 10, he should be able to clinch the championship. But I'm really keen to hear his insights and understand exactly what his pit had done. I know the LNR boys are out there. They know what's going down. I'll keep things quiet for now. I'm not going to divulge any unnecessary information. Only once Nick pits will I maybe ask if you're keen on sharing what's going on, because I have showed on stream what went down with Sean did take tires. Okay. He did a pit stop. Yes, I know he did a pit stop. Okay, we are at the 30-minute mark. Nick has gone for another lap. So he is trying to extend his stints. Last lap was a 28.9. Sean Bingham's last lap was a 28.0. Nick is losing a lot of time navigating through traffic. I suspect if he doesn't go and pit now, he probably has a good amount of open track in front of him. But if he's not pitting now, he might be running a different strategy. Slows down, car gets a little wiggly, and Nick goes into the pits. Right, I'll stay on him to get a little bit of a sense of what his pit stop is like. My suspicion is, judging by how the car has been wiggling around, he is going to be taking tires. My gut is telling me Sean likely took tires, but I'm not sure why the animation didn't show his car jacked up. Comes to a stop. Car doesn't jack up. Maybe that is just not a thing that is shown. Right. Hopping to Sean Strijdom. He has entered sector 3. He's coming around the second last corner now. Nick is still in the pits. He is still stationary. He's got that first pit box. Ooh, this might be tight. This might be very, very tight. Sean is on the main straight. Nick is rolling away. Ooh, Sean's going to exit right behind Nick. No, he exits right in front of Nick. Ooh. Big move for Sean. He's got warm tires now. I think his tires is 2 laps older than Nick, so he's going to have to watch out for that. Nick is gonna, like, these cars don't have tire warmer blankets, so Nick is gonna have to be waiting a little bit to fire up his tires and get them into that optimal temperature. Ooh, this is spicy. And I am sure Nick is not gonna be happy with himself there. To top it off, he's had to make his way around a back marker who is fully entitled to the racing line. Let's be clear. Oh, this was wild. This was wild. Can Sean now run away with it? There's a 1.5 second gap between himself and Nick. I'll keep an eye on the lap times going forward. If Sean took tires, he might be easing his way into the optimal spot for him there, just to make sure that he can maintain that competitive advantage. If he did not, and I would be very surprised if he didn't take tires, because that was a very long pit stop. There might be a really nice battle for us right at the end of this race. Right, Sean crosses the finish line with the last lap of a 27.0. Nick's last lap. I don't have a last lap for Nick. Nick's outlap was a 34.6, and already gap between them 2.5 seconds. This is where strategy can cut things so fine. That extra lap that Nick stayed out was an extra lap that Sean managed to warm up his tires, and Nick was completely defenseless against that. Okay. Hopping back, P12. I'm not sure why it showed such a small gap on my timing screen. Let's go see. Bjorn Buchner, he's getting lapped, that's why. And he was lapped by René Leach. So, out of the top 10, 6 drivers haven't taken their mandatory pit stop just yet. Earlier in the season, the optimal strategy was to take a splash and dash pit stop, and just make sure that you can keep your tires alive for the duration of the race. Mark Henneberry into the pits, and actually he is busy with his outlap at present. just check. Okay, Nick did manage to get past Mark. It's just the timing screen that's only going to update once they get to the first sector line. So it should update now. Yeah, Nick currently 3 seconds adrift of Sean Strydom. His last lap a 27.2. Sean's last lap a 26.9. 3 tenths in him. Hopping to James Leach Sr. Why did it show such a small gap between... Oh no, it was James Leach to Etienne Mouton. I think Mouton managed an overtake just as I was looking at the timing grid there. Ronald Child heads into the pits to go and clear his mandatory pit stop, decides to call it quits early. Interestingly, Ryan Barrington-Smith still out there, still putting in decent laps, although quite a bit slower than Nick and Sean. Certainly somebody must have told him that he should go and take new tires because it's more optimal. Or are we gonna see a three-way battle for the lead towards the end of the race? Can only hope that Nick can claw himself back a bit. Sean on the back of Sean. That's Sean Bingham, currently in P3. Bingham has already cleared his mandatory pit stop, but he is not quite as quick as Strydom behind him. So there is a little bit of a battle out there. Hold up. Sean Bingham didn't take... Oh, Sean Bingham managed to gain position here by not taking tires. That's the only thing that I can think of that went down here. Right, that will also explain why Bingham's lap times aren't as quick as Nick and Sean Strydom's. I'll stick with this for a moment. I do see Jeremy de Villiers and Martin Groenewald. No, they're not as close as I thought. It does mean, though, that if Sean Strydom can't get past Sean Bingham quickly, it is going to allow Nick an opportunity to close the gap again. That said, Nick will also have to make his way around Sean Bingham. And this is a track where track position can be king. But oftentimes when you can't quite get the same exit on these longer straights, it can be really, really tough to properly defend. Sean Bingham taking the outside line there. Ooh. Manages to stay ahead of Sean Strydom. This is spicy. And look at that. I think Nick has gained back about 6 tenths. Sean Bingham loses it completely. Oh, that's unfortunate. What happened there? Ah, oh, just too eager on the throttle. No. Aye, Sean. Hopefully the car isn't too crooked and you can keep going. But it has allowed Nick to also make his way past Sean Bingham. So right now net lead still with Sean Strydom. Nick in P2. We are yet to find out what's going to be happening with Endrin Govender and Ryan Barrington-Smith. Just to quickly jump to Ryan. His last lap time at 27.6 compared to Sean's 27.4, but that was driving behind Sean Bingham. Oh yes, Hardus, yeah, you are correct. Well, not correct. You know, because you're his teammate. First race for Sean Bingham in a while. Sean actually he couldn't race for the last few races, but he is back, so it's great seeing him back in the action, to be honest. Renier Leach jumping into pits. The only 2 drivers moved to Mauritius. Okay. So, who am I watching? Ryan Barrington-Smith making his way past Etienne Mouton. Ooh, shot tequila. I don't have tequila in my house. I will call it with whiskey though. But I can't do it on this stream. I'll do it afterwards. Anyways, so Ryan is currently playing an interesting game here, and it has occurred to me that he might just be playing the splash and dash game as a way to put himself between Nick and Sean to help solidify the lead for Sean. He is on fire, but only because I think Sean is going to be blowing some flames down his heels soon. Right, Indren. No, that was a back marker that Indren was lapping. So Indren also one of the oddballs here. 14 seconds adrift of Ryan. But the gap behind, I think a pit stop will lose you around about... Like the drive-through panel, the drive-through alone will lose you about 10 to 20 seconds. Add the pit stop to that. That's quite a ways back that Indren is going to be moving. Ryan is into the pits. Let's go and have a look. That was a splash and dash. That was a splash and dash. Where is Sean Strydom? Sean is making his way onto the main straight. Ryan Barrington-Smith is currently the leader. That was a splash and dash. I am pretty sure of it. It was much too quick for me to even notice he was in the pit. So this is going to shake out for quite the interesting battle. As far as I know, Ryan and Sean are teammates. I know that Sean doesn't need the win to clinch the championship. So... I'm not expecting team orders here. I'm expecting a full-on battle. But that does mean that it could bring Nick into contention for the win as well. Paul, if there is team orders here tonight, I'm going to be sorely disappointed in LNR because I am looking for a spicy 3-way battle for the end there. Right, so Ryan is 7 seconds ahead of Sean Strydom. I'll call out the pace difference as soon as I have some data. Indren Govender drives into the pits. I'll have a quick look at what he's doing. Unless he's already stopped at his pit box. I don't remember. Okay, no. There's yellow flag out on the course. So Ryan Barrington-Smith goes past. Sean Strydom goes past. Nick Hodgson goes past. Indren back out of the pit. I don't think that was a tire swap. So Indren managing to exit himself into what looks to be P5. No. Yes, P5. He's going to be having a little bit of a battle with Mark Henneberry towards the end here. His tires are not going to be feeling great. But Jeremy de Villiers and Martin Groenewald, the two nemesis. Martin tried making a move on Jeremy earlier tonight. It didn't stick. They kind of both had a bit of an off-track excursion there. Jeremy's last lap 28.3, Martin's last lap 28.4. Not a lot of time in it. Martin runs very, very wide. That is what a lapse of concentration can do to you. Right. Back to Nick. He's trying to make his way past some back markers. And he has been closing this gap to Sean by quite a bit. Now I'm starting to wonder if Sean isn't maybe... Ooh. Closed. No, I did not. I can quickly go and have a look at the standings to see where Nick and Ryan are So Ryan has already taken a drop round. Nick. Oh no, Nick has also taken a drop round. There is 7 points between them. So if Sean can back off Nick from Ryan, that can help further solidify the championship. That's a really good question that you're asking there, Hardis. I'll have a quick look. I'm not that up to date with all the movement here, so I'll see. Right, so Nick's teammate for simCup, Christy Simon. Christy Simon currently sitting well ahead, but okay, this is I'm not gonna fuss too much with calculating the team standings here. I don't think that Nick and Christy are in a position to be battling for the team championship here. I suspect this is purely down to Ryan trying his best to extend his lead on Nick instead of he's more extending his lead on Nick rather than trying to necessarily guarantee a team championship. My understanding is that Ryan and Sean both are both in the same team. I can quickly confirm that. I mean, Paul is right here. He can also confirm it. Ooh, that is quite the big team. Goodness. Sean Strydom. Yes. The name should say it all. Hey, Bridge. So Nick and Christy are in a really good position team-wise. But I think Ryan and Sean has this team championship pretty locked down as well. Ryan does have to still compete in the last race as well. Oh, this is going to be spicy. I am keen to see what's going on here. I thought Sean was backing off to try and keep Nick away, but Sean's last lap 26.8, Nick's last lap 26.8, and Ryan's last lap 27.9. 12 minutes to go, so around about 8 laps, let's say 9 laps to go. This is gonna be tight. Sean and Nick are on pace to catch up with Ryan within a few laps. Being around about a second quick, 5 to 6 laps, they're going to be catching up to Ryan, and then they're going to be battling, and they're going to be battling all throughout, like trying to deal with traffic. I don't think there's a lot of traffic up ahead. We'll have to wait and see. I'm excited. All I can say is I'm excited. I'm going to hop back to Etienne Mouton. He's right on the tail of Leon van Vieren. Ooh, Leon not quite able to keep a hold of the car there. Let's just quickly see what happened there. Oh, just dips a wheel onto the grass, and that sends him out wide. He's now also, I think that's one of the leeches lapping him. Martin Groenewald still within a second of Jeremy de Villiers. 2/10 quicker than Jeremy at the moment, but not quite able to capitalize on anything just yet. They've been battling each other very hard. And I wouldn't count out Ronald Childs and Christy Simon for a spicy battle here as well. They're about 10 seconds adrift of P7 and 8. So, as they cross the sector line, Sean Stradom 5.3 seconds behind Ryan Barrington-Smith. Nick Hodgson 1.3 seconds behind Sean Stradom. Hopping back. Oh, I missed it. Let's go back 30 seconds, see if I can get the overtake. Into the second last corner, Ronald leaves a lot of space on the inside, and Christy Simon manages to take away P9 from him there. Ronald's going to be a little bit frustrated with himself, but I'm sure if he can just get his head back into it and keep his focus going, he should be able to stay on the back of Christy now. Although I can't remember if Ronald pitted early for fuel though, as a quick splash and dash. It might be, judging by there's quite a big difference between Christy and Ronald's lap times at the moment. Fridge urging on Nick there, his fellow Lotus Challenge driver. Hopping back to Leon van Vieren, he's not lost the back of Etienne Mouton. 0.6 of a second, 6/10 behind Etienne. Etienne is arriving on the back of one of the Leeches, if I remember correctly. Ooh, these cars are looking slightly second-hand, almost as if they had been racing in the Nürburgring 24. Curious to see if this shakes out. Leon made a small mistake earlier, and that allowed Etienne to make the pass. Yeah, Bridge, you are correct in saying that they're running out of time. I'm starting to think now. Ryan has opened up the pace now. He is down to doing 27.4s. Sean did a 27.0 and Nick did a 26.5 on his last lap. No, what happened with Sean? Oh, he was trying to lap back marker traffic. I looked down to try and get ready for the end of the race, and I missed it. That is so unfortunate. Nick's gonna look at closing this gap to Ryan in the meanwhile. Sean still keeping hold of P3. As I said, he's had a perfect season thus far. That puts him at 500 points. If he finishes P3, that'll put him at 595 points. And I just don't think that's beatable. You need a bunch of wins in order to gain that. So neither Jeremy nor Gregory Hofard in P2 and 3 will be able to do that. The closest is likely Ryan Barrington-Smith, who's on 380. So if he wins, it'll be on 490. Ooh, this is close. If he wins tonight and he gets next race a win as well. But no, there's no way. 300 and Ryan's currently on 380 points. Okay, I just did some quick checking. I think provisionally, I'll use that word to my advantage here. Provisionally, Sean Stradom has the championship wrapped up in the bag, and he can just focus on that. Nick, on the other hand, not his best season. It has been a little up and down, dealing with various issues here and there, but also not quite as comfortable in the Porsche as maybe everyone else has been. So he's looking at trying to get a decent finish at least. And I suspect him and Christie will be able to get a pretty decent team championship finish. That is usually a really, in my opinion, it is quite a tough championship to lock up. You have to have two drivers that are really on top of everything and just show up for every race. Ooh, someone goes very wide there, making a small mistake. But Ryan also having a bit of an up and down season. He's had to take a drop round already, so he still has to show up for the last race of the season in order to make a good showing of it. But ultimately, because Ryan and Sean have done so well across the season, I'm pretty sure they'll be able to lock up the championship from a team point of view. Ryan might be able to like start eking his way into the podium spots as well. 3 seconds between Ryan and Nick. Ryan's last lap at 28.1, Nick's last lap at 27.4. 7 tenths between these two. Now I need to use calculators. Ooh, there's 4.2 laps needed for Nick to catch. Ooh, 4 laps left by my count. 4 laps left. And Ryan did a pretty quick lap just now with the 27.7. Nick's last lap at 27.2. So still very quick, but not quick enough to close this gap on Ryan. I am starting to think that there isn't necessarily a super optimal strat here. A lot of it comes down to tire management. Ryan was taking it slightly easier at the start of the race. He wasn't maybe getting too caught up in battles, and because Nick and Sean Strydom had pitted so early, it allowed him to inherit the lead and maintain a clean, consistent drive throughout the race, which nets him the position to be battling for the win at the end of the race. Yeah, Raman, you are 100% correct. It's one thing to catch, it's a whole different ball game to pass. There was a close gap. I'm quickly hopping back to Mark Henneberry, who is on Endrin Govender's tail. I think Endrin was one of the drivers that didn't take tires. So this will be a good judge of one thing to catch, another thing to overtake. Mark being very patient there, shows his nose, tries to unsettle Endrin. This isn't the first time Endrin is racing, to be honest. So he knows the tricks, he knows to keep an eye out for it, not to get unsettled by it. Mark doing his best to battle hard with Endrin here. He's showing his nose at almost every single corner, trying to get Endrin to unsettle and make a small mistake. They are coming up to a bit of lap traffic though, so depending on how that movement goes, it's gonna be, it might shake out quite interesting. And the traffic is Leon and Etienne. They are both battling for position, so it's going to make the overtake by the front runners even more difficult. These front runners have to be really confident that they do have the gap, that the driver ahead isn't focusing too much on what's going on ahead of him. And there was a car that was running very wide. Endrin going side by side. Mark is side by side with Etienne. Slight bump there. He's going to have to find his way, make his way past. I think that's going to be a little more difficult. Right, back onto Nick. He is still 2.9 seconds behind Ryan. It is the last lap of the race. Ryan has done a superb job tonight. Judging by what I've seen, the strategy call went either way. The LNR boys decided to split their strategy, make it really difficult for Nick to defend against either. And to be honest, it could have gone either way. Nick could have decided to have his battle with Ryan, not pitted. I suspect Nick might have... Well, if Nick chose to go for tires, he most definitely didn't feel that he could make the full stint on one set of tires. We had to deal with that. And Ryan is going to cross the finish line. Just quickly hopping back to see Martin Groenewald managing to make his way past Jeremy de Villiers. And Ryan crosses the finish line for a well-deserved P1. Nick crossing for P2. Sean Strydom in the draft of a back marker there, crosses for P3. I'm sure he's going to be... It's going to be frustrating. He had a bit of a tango there with a back marker, but still a good finish. I still think provisionally Sean has got the championship locked up in the bag. Sean Bingham, superb finish considering he's back. This is his first race in quite a while. Yes, Robin couldn't have said it better. Brilliant drive from Berries for the win. Endron crossing the finish line for P5. Mark Hennebury not able to get back. He's going to take P6. Martin Groenewald, who I might now start missing who's finishing where. Mark Groenewald, yeah, that was the battle for P7 and 8. He's going to be bringing it home for P7. And Jeremy de Villiers will be bringing home P8. Maybe not the night these two drivers had hoped for. A little bit of contact between them, but great to see that they were battling right to the end and keeping at it. Ronald Childs taking home P9 and James Leach. Okay, no, I think P10 would have been taken by Christie. I am going to go see if I can find some drivers to interview. While we wait for that to happen. See if I can find anybody. Okay. I never joined the voice channel. Hello, Sean Strydom, Brian Barrington Smith. How are you, gentlemen? Oh no, I think my sound device. I can't hear you. Give me a moment. Hello, try again.
Working now?
Yes. Sorry, I'm sure people on the stream heard you, but everything's fine now. Ryan, Nick, Sean, congrats on the podiums. Sean, I'm going to start with you. You looked like you were on pace to win this. You had a bit of a tango there at the end with a back marker, but take us through your race.
Leading up to the race, practicing, decided no. Gonna have to change tires. I even mentioned that to Berries or to Ryan, and I tried to keep pace with Nick. He obviously his first stint was outstanding. Second stint still went great. I saw I tried to keep a little bit of just a gap between me and Nick, saving some tires till the end. Mm-hmm. And unfortunate, some back markers, wants to. Yeah, maybe sometimes a race or something like that.
I'm sure Nick was licking his lips at the opportunity to be battling with you.
That's racing at the end of the day. Summer, I'm still smiling. So all good.
Well, you might be smiling even more if you hear this news. I think provisionally you have got the championship wrapped up in the bag. I need to confirm some calculations. I didn't have time to do that. But from what I can see, the numbers are pointing in the direction that you've won 5 races already. You've gotten P3. No one else has gotten close to that level of performance. I think you've got this one in the bag.
I will still wait for the celebrations until the point is out, but yeah, thank you.
I mean, to be fair, you lost P2 tonight, so good on you for waiting. Nick, take us through your race.
It was a surprise, I tell you what. I did not expect to be taking pole by any stretch of the imagination. So when I looked up at the end of qualifying and saw pole, I was a little bit blown away that Sean Ryan and Sean Bingham as well didn't snatch that off me. But you know, happily take a pole. I just tried to build a gap to Sean, certainly to start with. I knew that would knacker my tires a little bit. We saw that towards the end of my first stint that Sean really gained on me, and he obviously ducked in to do the undercut, which worked beautifully. So well done, Sean. That was awesome. I, like Sean, also figured that tires were going to be the way forward. I did not think they would last at all. I could barely make them last half the race, let alone the full race. So how the hell Ryan managed that, I don't know. And yeah, at back markers, I think Sean really slowed us down in our pursuit of Ryan. But you know, by the last few laps, I was exactly the same pace as Ryan. My tires were done. So yeah, they clearly didn't go up too much more. So Ryan, well played, bud. That was a stunning strategy from you.
Just to quickly add to Sean's race there, like I think Sean pitting 2 laps before you, Nick. His tires were warmed up and ready to go. You had no chance there, in my opinion. Looking at the race from my perspective, it was.
Yeah, except obviously he had to warm his tires over the first 2 laps, flying laps, while I was still out there. But you know, if you look at the replay, he came out in front of me from the pit stop. So no, he was just quicker. You were just quicker, dude.
And then lastly, Mr. How do they call you, Mr. Berries? Congratulations on the win there.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was quite surprised I managed to pull off a win there. During the practice session, I knew I didn't quite have the pace of the 2 Seans and Nick.
Mm-hmm.
So I just decided I'd try a bit of a different strategy, to do a split strategy to my teammates and to Sean, yeah. And I decided to take a risk and go the whole race without changing tires. And yeah, so I fell off a little bit at the start just because I was trying to keep the car in a straight line. I didn't want to do any drifting, any slides, nothing. I wanted to keep it in a straight line so I didn't wear those tires down. But unfortunately, I got about halfway through the race. I don't think you would have caught on the stream, but I made a mistake at turn 3 and I spun the car, so I ended up losing like 10 seconds because of it. So
you would have had a commanding lead then, is what you're saying.
If I hadn't made that mistake, it would have been a bit more of a comfortable lead. But
okay.
Yeah, I just, after that spin, I was very worried I'd cook the tires, but luckily I managed to just go back into my rhythm, and I started setting consistent 27.2s, 27.3s. And yeah, I just kept that going right to the end of the race. I ended up doing my pit stop a little bit earlier because I saw traffic in front of me. So I got the little 3-second pit stop done quick, and then back on track, and I just managed to hold it right to the end.
How do they say? That's racing. It was a great race to watch, Ryan. Congratulations on the win. Hopefully I'm seeing all 3 you drivers back next for the next race, the last race of the season. I know, Sean Stradom, you've got the title thus far, and maybe you can clinch the title with 6 wins in the bag. But it was some superb racing, and Ryan, like, hats off. I know that this Porsche is really, really tough to drive, and it's really tough to prevent that rear from just taking that little bit of a step out. Like it showed some superb racecraft managing your tires for the stint, even though you had the spin. That's still quite the pressure to absorb from yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Right, gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm going to start closing out here, so you're free to hop off. If anybody is still interested in coming and joining us, we are into the final stretch. Last rounds of the season. 3 rounds left. SimGT, SimGP, and then the last simCup race. The last simCup race will be on Kyalami. I'll quickly check where the next SimGT race is going to be. Looks like it's Indianapolis, and the last SimGP race is slated to happen on Monza, the Temple of Speed. So you can still come and race. Like I mentioned, we might be a little bit full with SimGT and SimGP. Nothing is stopping you from signing up and seeing where you can fit in. But also, more importantly, there's a next season happening at the start of July. come and join, come and provide us input. What are you interested in racing with for this like feeder tin top series? Are you going to be, do you want to race Porsche Cup? Do you want to race GT4s, or do you want to race that legendary Alpha? And then there's also a vote out for the simGP series. I know we're looking at some options there. Not quite sure yet where we're going to pan out there. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this season is going to shake out at the end. And just in general, having some good hard racing with everybody. I'm going to call it a night there. Thanks everybody in YouTube chat for stopping by. It's great having some insight and feedback from the team members there, but it's also just great having a bit of banter. Unfortunately, Nick couldn't make it, my teamie couldn't make it, but huge congrats to the LNR boys. They've had some superb pace this season, and hopefully we can get other guys like Charles Wilkin. I see Gregory Hofart is also one of the faster drivers, or one of the higher scorers. Hopefully we can see them back next week. Get some really good race. Oh, not next week, in 3 weeks time. Get some good racing out there. Cool. Have a good night, everybody. I'm going to close it off for now. Hopefully, Gas said he is aiming to do a good stream of next week's race, the final of the SimGT race. And Ryan is going to do his best to hop onto the simGP race. But I will be back. I will be back for this last SimCup race. Right. I'm going to say goodbye, everybody. Have a nice evening.